This fella.
Yes.
I see. I don't think he understands.
Lou. Lou. Hey, you. Your name Lou?
You know my name, I told you.
Yeah?
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, I guess I want you to tell me if you ever seen this man before. Think carefully. You ever seen him?
No, I don't know. Who is he?
Why don't you tell him, Tony? Tell him who he is.
Last summer, this man Lou and his friend.
Welcome everyone. What you just heard was a clip from Nocturnal Animals, a 2016 film, which is the topic of discussion today, or I should say topic of review today. So for this movie, we have Amy Adams playing Susan, who is a very well-off art gallery owner, but in an unhappy relationship with her husband. She receives a proof of Edward, her ex-husband's novel, and begins to read it. And that kind of rekindles her memories of her relationship with him, and then we follow the story that is in that novel itself. That's generally what the movie is about. Would you guys add anything else to that?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I would say importantly, she starts reflecting on her past relationships and herself as she reads through this manuscript. It's, I guess, a psychological thriller / Western. I don't know.
Indeed, and I guess I should mention we are talking with Farhan and Yusuf today.
Hi guys. Yeah, that wasn't Faraz's.
What's that?
That wasn't Faraz's inner dialogue. That was us.
That was yeah.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. That's funny.
Thank you. I appreciate you letting me know.
Okay.
So yeah, let's get into it, guys.
All right, so we're doing a review for this episode, everyone, and we will be releasing the discussion separately. So we're gonna do this kind of like we did the other ones, where we're just gonna rattle our scores off for the category and then discuss that category as a whole and if there's any differences between what we had in terms of a score. Writing is the category.
I've got it as a 50.
Whew.
Alrighty then.
Yeah.
Starting off with a bang. I gave it a 70. Just the average. I gave it an average score.
I am much closer to Yusuf. I gave it a 55.
Then why'd you say whoa?
No, 'cause I'm surprised that he liked it. He's also the one who chose this movie.
I did choose this movie. So yeah, interestingly enough.
So we can all agree writing is not the reason that this is what makes this movie good.
No,
Right.
yeah, I would say.
Which is strange, right? Because she's reading a book, which is it's writing heavy in a sense.
And the book is pretty well written, I will say. So from that perspective, the writing gets top marks for me. But
I mean, that was my critique of it, was that this plays off more like a novel than a movie. And maybe the writing would have worked better and not seem so out of
If
place.
it was narrated, you mean? You think if it was narrated, this writing score would be better?
Oh, true. Yeah, it would be. Because that dialogue is what felt out of place, right? Like, people don't talk like that.
I don't know if I saw that really.
Really?
I thought it was just regular dialogue that they weren't really putting a lot of effort into it. But
worth noting that it is based off a novel, right? This is based off of a 1993 novel called Tony and Susan. So, I mean, perhaps that is why. Although I don't know what you guys think of Tom Ford, and what do you think of him? Because I think
he makes great cologne.
Dude, I have no idea, or I had no idea he made movies or directed stuff. I only know of
Well,
him.
this is one of three, I think.
Okay.
So it's not like it's a pastime, and for this being somebody's side gig, I mean, it's pretty impressive for somebody of that caliber. I think to just randomly be like, you know what, I'm gonna write and direct a movie. Let's see how that goes.
I mean, I only heard of him from that Jay-Z song. From Magna Carta or something.
Oh my god!
I didn't know.
Let's go on to the next category.
No, wait. I need to know more here. First of all,
I had no idea who Tom Ford was. How am I supposed to know who this guy is?
I was completely unaware until just now that it was the same Tom Ford that has his own label.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea. I'm the one who's like, listen, guys, this is Tom Ford who directed this, and I had no idea.
Well,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
it's absolutely crazy.
It's crazy, right? Think about picture I don't know, friggin' Versace being like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go into I'm just gonna write a play. Let's see how that goes. And then the play ends up on Broadway. That's what this is like. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Assuming that he got in solely on merit and nothing else, yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Even still, I mean, hey, look, we're talking about this movie.
We are.
So
yeah, and actually, I should mention this. I actually did not know about this movie until you put it on the list, Yusuf.
same here.
Really? Very
And it's
interesting.
not that
Okay.
old. It's 2016, right? So it's not even like
Not super old, yeah.
I don't remember any trailers. I don't remember any commercials. I don't. Yeah, I don't remember anything.
I
Yeah,
mean,
for him to get such a like top build cast, like that's
Yeah, the
amazing.
cast is great.
he's got a great cast. Yeah, like I mean, so that's very interesting. That I'm reading now that I mean he did that movie and he did another movie like 7 years before that. So like he's not really a regular director, and that is gonna impact the way that I view this movie a lot actually, because I think he presents himself as quite a professional director actually.
So
But
you're gonna be more impressed now because now that
Definitely.
you know who he is, your expectations just lowered.
yeah, definitely. I would have much lower expectations for the guy who has his own designer label. I don't know. That's crazy. But let's let's focus on the scores here. I mean, I'll just wrap up the writing by saying that yeah, I thought a lot of the rapping. Now you've got me thinking about Jay-Z. The writing was rather uncomplicated at times. Maybe it was a little bit too forthcoming. Like they told you what you needed to know rather than showing you at times. But I don't really think he was going for like great writing. I mean, he kind of had a minimalist approach. There's not a whole lot of dialogue to begin with, and that's okay. He's not necessarily trying to make a movie that you're particularly going to enjoy the writing for. So that's fine. I think he focused elsewhere, but nonetheless, it doesn't really deserve a high score just because he wasn't trying. So that's why I landed there. Not a huge knock on the movie or him, but that's just where I was.
Okay, so let's go on to the narrative score. I'll start with this one. I gave it a 65.
Interesting. I gave it an 85. I think the narrative is kind of what carries the movie. And if there is, I mean, for me, if there's a shining spot in this movie, it's the narrative.
Yeah, I'm close with that. I'm up at an 80. So I thought it was a unique combination of different genres, as we talked about. You get to kind of watch two competing plot threads, interweaving and intersecting, but they both have their own story. I liked it, and it kept me on edge for most of the movie.
Well, that's what you just said, Yusuf. I agree with it. That's why it is at a 65 and not lower for me. I didn't like, so I guess there's like 3 threads or time. There's one timeline and 2 threads. I don't know how you would describe the different narratives that are going on.
I get what you're
But-
saying. Yeah.
There's different realities. I mean,
Yeah, so there's
Different
one
worlds.
that's fictional, and then there's 2 realities. One is the past.
Yeah, one is the present for Susan, and then one
Yeah.
is her reliving her relationship's past.
In any case, I just thought 2 of the 3 were kind of weak. The fictional timeline that we're following is the one I enjoyed, and I guess that part was engaging. That's why, I mean, whatever, it's just a little under average for me.
well, we'll get into reasons why that might be the case.
Yeah, I think I would give up way too much if I explained it further, to be honest.
Yeah. No problem. If you guys want to know what he's talking about, tune in to the discussion. Let's talk about the acting, shall we?
Excellent hook. Let's do it.
I gave acting a 75, teetering between a 75 and an 80. I mean, nobody's bad.
I'm at a 70, so not a huge amount of disagreement there. You're right. Nobody's bad. Several people are sufficient. I thought Amy Adams was extremely sufficient, not lacking, but like didn't really blow me away either.
Dude, that is so true. Extremely sufficient. I like that.
I don't know. So I gave it a higher score than both of you. Acting is what I thought was the strong suit of the movie. I gave it 80. I thought, Amy Adams was pretty good. Jake Gyllenhaal was great. Michael Shannon played a pretty good job too. I think this is only the second movie I've seen with
I
him.
mean,
'Cause he
we've
was in
talked about
Shape of
Michael
Water.
Shannon before. It's the same exact character from Shape of Water. There's zero difference.
I mean,
No
he's not
difference.
necessarily a bad guy in this one, though.
He plays a cowboy sheriff in The Shape of Water. Wow.
No, well, he plays
Personality-wise.
the. If you just take every single acting scene that he's in and you put it next to this one, you'll be like, okay, where is this guy's range? There is none. There's none.
That doesn't mean he didn't do a good job at the role.
It doesn't mean he didn't do a good job. That's why I have the highest acting score of all of you. I shouldn't be, what I mean?
No, I gave it an 80. You gave it a 75.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Well, I'm teetering between the two. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is probably the best actor in this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the dude is I think he's a great actor.
I really like him, man. I think I surprise myself every time I watch a movie of his how much I like him. He's just good. He's good at everything. He shows a huge amount of range.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even really seek out watching his movies, but I think I've seen a lot of them, and I really like them. I mean, we talked about Prisoners on a previous episode, and I mean, he really dives into each character that he does, and I mean, like you just said, Michael Shannon maybe doesn't change up how he portrays people, even when they're in completely different different scenarios. I think Jake Gyllenhaal does the opposite. He really focuses on like little twitches of the characters' personalities and bringing those out. So I loved him. But I mean, Faraz, you're right. Michael Shannon didn't do a bad job. I think he had kind of a cookie cutter character to play here. Old Western sheriff and whatever. I don't know. I mean.
He was extremely sufficient. You know what I mean?
He was. I mean, that sufficiency actually got him an Oscar nomination for supporting actor.
I had no idea.
What?
Only one in this
movie?
Yeah, it's the only acting nomination for this movie. So I mean,
my
he
God.
he was even more sufficient than Amy Adams when you look at it that way. So I mean, it is what it is.
That's hilarious to me, but okay.
All right, let's go to the next category, guys. Let's do aesthetics. I give it a 90.
Same as me. I got a 90.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I went with the 70.
Oh,
All right. Explain yourself.
I mean, well, you guys explain yourselves. You're the one with the extreme scores. I thought it was extremely sufficient.
I thought aesthetics was kind of doing a lot of the legwork of this movie. I mean, I think that they did a really good. I mean, this movie is at its core about a relationship or relationships, but really one relationship. And we're gonna get into themes, but basically the idea is that there's a lot of false appearances in how things, the reality of things versus the way things look. And this movie is visually really beautiful to look at. I mean, there's a lot of really stunning shots. And it doesn't go well with the darkness of the story, but that's the point. There's a lot of good contrast that kind of shows, I don't know, the bleakness of the characters' lives versus, whatever, the materiality that they surround themselves with, right? I mean, the house and the nice cars and all of that in LA and, the clothing. But, at the end of the day, Amy Adams kind of portrays a much less happy character than that. So I thought that was kind of central to what they were showing. I thought they did a good job with it.
I mean, Yusuf, you're right that they're showing all this extravagant stuff, but the tone that they use, the colors, the literal contrast that they have with the blacks being crushed, I mean, it looks very gloomy kind of for most of the movie. And it's very consistent. Even like when there's good times or bad times, they stick with that gloomy look. I just thought it really, and the colors were great too. There's some amazing shots I thought in this movie, because when you have like that gloomy look and then you add colors to it, it looks great to me. It looks very similar to like if you guys have seen the movie Drive with Ryan Gosling, has like that kind of vibe to it.
I mean, I think you guys aren't wrong. And what I noticed a lot was their palette choice according to the mood. So they do that really well. But I definitely don't think it's better than other movies that I've seen that I have scored, higher, that we've talked about previously. So I mean, I really just think it was average. And to be honest with you, I don't even know how much effort they themselves really put into it that much. I mean, I know that they spent a lot of money on the present timeline when they're in her house and stuff like that. But by that logic, Parasite should be 100 because they built a house specifically for that movie. So
well, I mean,
okay, you can't buy your way into high scores around here, okay? Just because you built.
Exactly.
Well, I mean,
but that's what that whole thing was with the their house and with like her that whole environment.
We've called it aesthetics and like how it feels both in terms of looks and sound. And I thought sound and music also was very good in this movie. I thought it played like a great role to the narrative. And
I think I would add on to what you were saying about kind of the tones that they were using even in those really luxurious shots. The music kind of did the same thing, or not just the music, but the sound overall, where they had kind of these sad violins playing over like these purportedly really happy scenes, like the gala opening that kind of opens the movie. It's like everyone's kind of smiling and happy, having a good time, but there's like this really sad, melancholy music playing over it. I thought that those contrasts drove home the point of the film to a degree. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I agree with you to a degree, Farhan, that there's maybe they were pushing that a little bit in our faces, but there's other shots that I thought, I mean, really did a good job of that without being over the top. I'm shooting you over a shot from earlier in the film, which is like of LA, and it's kind of just an overview of the city. So I mean, if you take a look at it, it's just like, I don't know, you have the palm trees or whatever, but there's just this deep fog that you can't really enjoy what's underneath
Super
there.
cool.
I love that shot.
Interesting.
That's one of several.
You know what? I'll
but-
probably I'll probably do a rewatch and then I'll focus on that. Maybe my score will change. Who knows?
Okay, let's close it out with themes.
What do you guys got?
I got 85.
I'm at an 80.
I'm at an 80.
Okay, so this is one we're all very close on.
Yeah.
It was kind of hard to go lower than that here, right? I mean, this movie is kind of an extended, well, it's an allegory, right? It's a extremely extended metaphor. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to go lower on themes when that is kind of such a big chunk of this movie. I think they did a fairly good job of it. It's a little bit singular. I mean, there's one point that they're driving home, but they do a very complete job of giving you that experience and driving home that point with the allegory, right? You get kind of this symbol for the whole complex experience that, well, the writer, I guess, Edward Sheffield, Jake Gyllenhaal's character is portraying or trying to communicate to Amy Adams. So I didn't go higher because of that, but I couldn't really in good faith go lower than an 80 as well.
I mean, I agree with you. I don't know if I have anything to add to that.
Yeah, me neither.
What did you guys think overall then? How did you guys, since I picked this movie, how did you guys feel in a holistic sense about this movie?
I'll be honest with you. In the beginning, like the first
The title sequence?
I was like, this is gonna be an artsy fartsy movie. And then when the sequence of the narrative from the novel showed up, then I was like, okay, then it got really engaging, and I was like, okay. So you kind of had to stay around for a little bit, but I mean, I thought it was great. It was a really interesting. It's a really interesting contrast that they've created between the worlds, and that's what I found them really focusing on a lot. And we'll talk about it later, but. Yeah, I thought it was great.
I thought it was pretty good. It is a movie that I think you need to be kind of in the mood for to enjoy it, because it is a little tragic and a little bit of a downer and kind of weird, especially with that title sequence. That I mean, like, if you're just not ready for it, then you might just be turned off and like not enjoy it. But I think, like Varn said, if you can get through the early part and then get into that novel, into that story within there, then it's pretty enjoyable because it's a good story and it's engaging.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys about the title sequence. I'll just say that much and I'll leave it there.
I kind of thought you wanted me to watch this movie just for that title sequence, to be honest with you. I was like, Yusuf has got some interesting taste here.
Anyone who watches this movie after listening to this is now gonna be all eyes focused on the title sequence. It is an extremely odd way to start the movie. You know, I wouldn't expect any less from a designer label director. I guess now that makes all sense to me.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But it's like, I think once you get through that, you kind of see where they're going with it. I'll be honest. I actually picked this movie because I thought Farhan wouldn't like it, maybe, and I just wanted to see if I was right or wrong. And it seems like I wasn't really on base, but that's interesting because I mean, you know, I think I'm finding out more and more about your taste, Farhan. But and so I thought this was a movie about, you know, it's about a relationship at its core, but it goes really off kilter in how it handles that and how it portrays that, which is kind of the elements that are more interesting to me. Cool. I'm glad you both enjoyed it to a degree. I'm glad Farhan enjoyed it a lot apparently. So that was I'm glad I picked this movie to discuss.
Okay, so that does it for the review of Nocturnal Animals. We will be back next week on Thursday with the discussion.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this production of The Twice Over. If you haven't already, subscribe and follow wherever you get your podcast, and remember to support us on Patreon or by sharing the podcast with a friend. Feel free to contact us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at The Twice Over, or email us at comments@thetwiceover.com. All of the music you heard is from Amerigo Gazaway. Check him out on Bandcamp and Spotify.